More homes are sitting on the Massachusetts housing market now than they have in years. And a lot of sellers are asking the same question: why isn't my home selling? The reality is the market has started to shift, and likely your strategy hasn't shifted with it. And so because of that, your home is going to sit. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly what's happening with home sales, why they're sitting a little longer here in the Massachusetts housing market in 2026. We'll go over the real numbers behind it and what you can actually do to move your house and get it sold. So stay tuned. So number one, the first thing we're going to talk about is days on market. How long does a home sit on the market before it sells? This is a great indicator of where the market is today. Right now in Massachusetts, the average days on market is about 57 days. And in many cases, it gets north of 60 to 65, 70 plus, depending on the specific price point. For reference, just a couple of years ago, the average days on market was anywhere between 15 to 30 days on the market. So you can see the difference is pretty stark. We've basically gone from a 2-week market to a 2-month market. And that changes everything about how you need to price and market your property. And that brings us to point number 2, which is price reductions. Now here's what's really telling. About 1 in every 4 homes on the market in Massachusetts, or 23%, has done a price reduction before it accepts an offer. Price reduction means you have to lower your list price to try to get more people to come there before you finally take an offer. And that number of about 23-24% is up about 5 to 10% from last year alone. So if your home isn't getting offers and you're doing price reductions, just know you're not alone and it's not atypical. It's just happening more so now than it has in the last couple of years. And here's the key. Homes that adjust early tend to sell quicker. The ones that chase the market down tend to sit. What we typically recommend is every 3 or 4 weeks, once things have stalled and showings have come to a slower point, that's the point where you might meet with your realtor and say, how much do we want to reduce our price? Is it a small reduction or a big reduction? And it really depends on your circumstance. The third thing we're going to talk about that really shows why homes aren't moving is expired listings. We're seeing more homes expire, which means that they get listed, they don't sell, and they come off the market. We're seeing that go up in Massachusetts as well. And the number of expired listings has actually doubled over the last 2 years. And overall, the number of total home sales in Massachusetts is down 9% year over year. That would mean the number of total homes that turn over and sell in the state on a year-to-year basis. So this isn't just random, it's a direct result of positioning, pricing, and not matching today's market. And on top of this, we're also seeing inventory shift up slightly. There's about 6% more homes total on the market this year compared to last year. But at the same time, new listings are down about 10%. So a lot of that is carryover from the year before. It doesn't mean the market is crashing by any means, it just means that there's a slight shift in buyer demand. And that brings us to our next point, which is interest rates and home affordability. We're gonna go over this section just so you can understand why a shift like this takes place and what you can do about it. Interest rates right now are anywhere between 6 to 6.5%. Really, it's depending on the week at this point of the year right now with how crazy things are. But I think it's important for sellers to do the math on that so you can understand what your target audience will be. So let's take a $550 to $600K home. That's roughly $3,500 to $4,000 a month total for the total monthly mortgage, depending on down payment, of course. That's the reality of the math buyers are doing in today's market. Now, the median home price in Massachusetts is anywhere from $630,000 to $670,000. So when you're asking buyers to afford a $600K plus home with 6.5% interest rates, just understand the pool of buyers at this range that can afford that much of a monthly payment with interest rates is much smaller than the pool of buyers who can afford something, say, $500 to $450K and under. In today's market, only about 30 to 32% are selling at or above their list price. That number used to be almost 75% a few years ago. So buyers aren't chasing homes anymore. They're setting a strict budget for themselves and shopping within it. And this brings us to a super important section here. It's know your price point and know what the average home price is in your town so you can know where you are. So just understand, if the average home price in your town is $505,000 and your home is being listed for $700,000, just understand that you are way above average in your town, and thus it's likely going to have a much smaller group of buyers potentially for it. It's just a little less likely to have a competitive or a bidding war type of situation. Most homes still are moving pretty well compared to the market's overall history. whether you're in that upper echelon of prices or in the lower, starter home prices. And so if your home isn't selling and it's been sitting for a long time and you're not sure why, let's go over now some of the specific reasons why it might not be moving. So number one is pricing strategy. To move in today's market, generally you have to be priced at a spot where most buyers are going to see it as a great deal or being very attractive. And what's important when you're pricing your home is that you're not just looking at what's recently sold, you're looking at what's actively on the market, because that is your active competition that buyers are going to be comparing your home to. If similar homes are sitting and you're priced the same or higher, there's your answer. And you're probably going to need to adjust your price or wait until there's a competitive enough moment in your market and hopefully the deal will strike. And the number two way to get your home to move faster in today's market is marketing quality. And in my opinion, it's more important now than ever, and especially when you get into that upper tier, upper range of prices. So in this market, the average marketing doesn't cut it anymore. You need professional photography, you need drone photography, you need photo enhancements, you need the opportunity to do virtual staging, you need multiple different video formats, horizontal videos to attach to the listings directly, and then you need vertical video content for Instagram, Facebook, so you can plug that content to the local audiences on those platforms that might be buying the property. So if your home doesn't stand out online, buyers are never going to schedule a showing. And let's talk about the third thing that might help you move your property today a little quicker. And that's gonna be to track your traffic. Watch your data. How many views are you getting online each week on Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin? On the social media content or the video content that you've created, whether it be on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, how many views are you getting per week? Is that number escalating? Is it going down? How's it performing on a week-to-week basis? The total number of views you get digitally usually means the more showings you get in person. The more showings you get in person, the more potential offers you get. So tracking this data is super important. And tracking actual foot traffic that comes in through the open houses or through showings is super important as well. Because when those numbers start to slow down, oftentimes it means you're gonna have to do something to get that number to tick back up. And the fourth thing that is really important today, and again, it usually pertains to homes that are usually on that upper range of pricing, is telling the story of the home. And this is a big one that I think a lot of properties miss. And we've been seeing it a lot recently on some recent expireds that we've helped. Almost every home has something unique. And sometimes when a home doesn't move, and this truly is a special feature, that's a huge mistake. So some samples, right? If you have a large single level living property, that's something that people look for. If you've got a large lot in an area that it's very rare to have a large lot in, that's the story of that property. But are you near water? Are you in walking distance to the water? That's the story of your property. That's the story you need to tell in the marketing. That could help get the property to move. So there's a number of different marketing strategies you can take with your realtor to do this. But just make sure if there is something unique or special about your property, that story is being told. And the fifth thing we're going to talk about to move your property a little faster today is you almost always have to have open houses scheduled. Open houses equals exposure through a few different ways. When you have an open house scheduled on a home, even though it's been sitting for forever, Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin.com push the houses that have scheduled open houses to the top of their lists. And thus they get more digital views. And because of that, they get more showings. And when you have more showings, it only takes one buyer to make a deal. So to wrap this all up, if your home isn't selling in Massachusetts in today's market, it doesn't mean it won't. It just means something needs to change. If you're thinking about selling or your current home is sitting, I'm happy to take a look and give you my honest feedback. The homes that are winning right now in today's market aren't lucky, they're just positioned correctly. And if you or anyone you know needs help in the home buying or selling process in the Southern Massachusetts or Rhode Island area, feel free to reach out to me in my contact details below. I'll see you guys on the next video.